Hadith 27. Umar affirms that La ilaha illallah is the best kalima for salvation and piety. An Uthmana qala sami'atu Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yaqulu inni la'alamu kalimatan la yaquluha abdun haqqan min qalbihi ila hurima al-nar faqala lahu Umaru binu Khattabi anna uhaddithuka ma hiya kalimatul ikhlasi lati a'azallahu tabaraka wa ta'ala biha Muhammadan sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ashabahu wa hiya kalimatu taqwa lati alasa alaiha nabiyullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam amahu apa galibin indal maute shahadatu an la ilaha illallah. And this is narrated by Ahmed Hakim Uthman, God be pleased with him, narrated that he heard the messenger of God, divine contact upon him and wholeness, saying, I know the statement which, if recited by a person with sincerity of heart, forbids the fire of hell to touch him. Umar, God be pleased with him, said, Shall I tell you what that statement is? It is the same statement by virtue of which Almighty Allah has honored the messenger of God, first to God upon him, and peace, and his companions. It is the same statement of piety that was offered by the messenger of God contact to God upon him and wholeness to his uncle Abu Talib, and at the time of his death. It is, there is no God except God. Now, by that, it's meant that there's benedictions offered. The influence of making the prayer is part of the legacy of the Prophet. So it's not that we're taking him as an intermediary. Obviously, we believe that the prophets are going to pray on behalf of their nations. But note, this is a well-known story about Abu Talib, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is given in the books of Hadith, Tafsir, and history. While the Hadith books are supposed to be history books, and they're put to a greater scrutiny than you'd expect with modern history. The honesty of everybody in the chain and other such things. As he had been helping the exemplar prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to him when he was about to die and said, O my uncle, recite La ilaha illallah, even now, so that I may be able to intercede on your behalf on the day of Qiyamah, and may be a witness before Almighty Allah that you embraced Islam. Abu Talib replied, People will criticize me for having accepted the faith of my nephew in fear of death. Otherwise, I would have pleased you by reciting this kalima. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned from there deeply grieved, It was in this connection that the Quran verse was revealed, which means, Lo, thou guidest not whom thou lovest, but Allah guideth whom He will. It is evident from this incident that who indulges in the sins and bad deeds and disobey Allah and His Rasul, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the Messenger has inspired teachings, inspired from God. So obey the revelation, obey the inspiration, but think that they will get salvation by virtue of the prayer in their favor by some pious persons are sadly mistaken. All power rests with Almighty Allah, to whom we should always turn, and with whom we should establish our real connection. However, the company of pious men and their prayers and good wishes can help us in achieving this end. We should encourage the good of others, the prayers for the pious, for the knowers and believers and actors and learners of truth. If we act along these lines,